Everybody, welcome to the Not Too Late Show. With, of course, your host, Carolyn Racine. Written this week, again, by mostly Carolyn, but a little bit by me. With special guest, friend of the Bay, friend of the show, friend of you, eventually, George Coker. Give it up, please, now for your host, Carolyn Racine. Woo!
Welcome to the Not Too Late Show, the show that's put together in a matter of hours and never rehearsed, and I'm not even wearing glasses. I can't see anything. Let's get into it. Trump said today he may close the Mexican border for a very long time, starting next week. Don't worry, because then he asked an aide if he could go play the back nine at Mar-a-Lago, because he hadn't golfed in ages. What?
I just got it.
Oh, God. That's a time joke, Frankie. The Trump administration recently requested over $85 million in a spy budget.
Oof.
In other words, Eric Trump just watched Inspector Gadget. They're gonna have the goes in the greatest gadgets. You're writing credit, Frankie.
My one joke this week.
A few weeks ago, Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar brought his boyfriend to meet Vice President Pence, proving that while an Irish goodbye is leaving a party quietly, an Irish hello is a big, proud F you. Lori Loughlin's daughters may be banned from USC forever. They may be, but they can't figure it out because they can't read the letter. CVS and Walgreens will begin selling CBD products at some of their stores. Not to be outdone, Rite Aid will allow its employees to continue selling dank weed by the dumpster. And finally, television ads for drugs may soon include prices, which explains why Viagra's new slogan is Viagra. The more cost-effective your erection, the more likely you need to go to the doctor.
Hey, that's the monologue. Woo. Oh, Carolyn.
What's up, Frank?
Good to see after a nice week off we had.
We had 2 weeks off.
Oh, that's right. It was 2 weeks off.
2 weeks ago, we were in La Jolla.
That's right. The old beach house. Our friends were high on shrooms, and Carolyn and I took it upon ourselves to play caretaker. Until I was too drunk.
You took care of them, and you took care of me taking care of them, because I almost left them on the beach.
It's true. Nearly left on the beach.
Turns out I'm never around people on drugs, so I think they're not a harm to themselves.
Well, I think we're a good pair because neither of us ever want to be around people on drugs, but both of us had and then chose to that weekend.
You probably shouldn't be talking about this.
Right. Oh, that's right. The FCC's watching.
The FCC always watches.
For the Canon fans out there.
Yeah, let's get into it. This one?
I think so.
Never rehearsed.
Never rehearsed.
Last minute. So the Mueller report.
Oh boy, what a stinker!
Broke in the and since we've been here. What did you say? What a stinker?
Uh-huh.
You mean Mueller or?
Both of
them. And then Barr. People are upset with Barr because he released 4 pages, a 4-page summary on a 300-plus page report, which actually makes sense because that's like a book report length.
It's a lot like a book report.
And that's kind of something that William Barr has a lot of experience in, is book reports.
He was in 4th grade for a long time.
So we have the Not Too Late Show's Barr's Book Reports.
Barr's Book Reports!
We didn't print anything this week.
Lower tech than normal.
So Barr put out a book report of Crime and Punishment.
Ooh, I fell asleep reading that in high school.
He did not. He read it, and this is like essentially Crime and Punishment, according to William Barr.
Okay.
More like Crime and Wiedma Hunt.
Which?
In this love story of the ages, Raskolnikov reads the newspaper every day, takes vigorous walks, and later falls in love with a great woman. One he did not murder.
Wow. Interesting version.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment.
I think he left some things out.
Crime and Punishment, yeah. We're both left out.
This is Barr's reports. He did an amazing review report of Lord of the Flies, though.
Ooh, the book?
We've all read Lord of the Flies.
Yes, I have read Lord of the Flies.
I think he's read it. Okay, this is Barr's Lord of the Flies.
Okay.
A handy how-to guide on camping, fire safety, and the buddy system.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Whether your son dreams of being an Eagle Scout or voted into office, this is sure to inspire him to get into the great outdoors.
Ooh.
It's like Lord of the Flies-ish.
I mean, he's got a lot of the elements of it.
A few less murders.
Far fewer. Like I didn't hear any slitting of throats or spilling of blood.
I feel like this
And
man's
no
playing
mention of
Balderdash.
asthma. What's that, Drew?
I just feel like this man's playing Balderdash. You know that game where you just make shit up? That's what that sounds like.
Barr is playing Balderdash with our country.
Balderdashed America.
Ugh.
Okay. He doesn't have that
Lastly.
much experience. He only has one more report.
Okay.
Frankenstein.
Uh-oh.
According to William Barr, this is all you need to know. We call the movie the novel Frank. I've read the book. I haven't
Just do a joke.
We call the novel Frankenstein when they should really be calling it Frankenstein's work ethic.
What's our next segment, Carolyn?
You know, the title cards really wrap the show
They
together.
do.
I
It
thought
helps.
it was you. It's not
Nope.
you. It's the graphics.
I don't need to be here.
You don't need to be here.
Gabby can do it.
So I read a lot of news for this show.
Oh, do you?
Only for this show.
Mm.
Some news is informative. Some news is biased. Some news is just rude. Yikes. So it's the end of March. This is the Not Too Late Show's Rudest News of the Month. Title card.
Let's pretend.
The rudest news of the month. Show him the news.
Oh, we have one for this one. Rudest news of the month. Oh no.
CNN published this article. Spaceflight is activating herpes in astronauts.
Activating.
Reactivating herpes in astronauts. So rude. Just can you keep the graphic up? They know what I look like.
Okay.
I know we need to create clickbait for anyone to read pure science, but can't we stick to articles like Neil deGrasse Tyson explains bong rips on every planet? That's the kind of science articles you should be getting clickbait for. To be clear, this article mentions that other viruses are reactivated in space, like chickenpox. So that's cute, not rude. I'm gonna jump down. CNN.
You don't need to know that.
CNN and many news outlets can't keep it cute. Now when I see a photo of Neil Armstrong, I'm gonna ask myself, did he have herpes? When I really should be asking, did he get a SAG credit for that moon gig? This is the news.
Ooh. Infowars.Carolyn.
I'm asking.
Just asking questions.
No, I'm not rude. This is rude. Okay? Astronauts should be sexy. I watched Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks and the other silver foxes. They're like firefighters of the sky, not 1 in 3 of the rest of us. This news is rude. The rudest news of the month. I do get a little ooh when I riff though.
Oh, you can tell. Is there a sponsor this week?
There's a sponsor. We don't have a
No graphic for it.
This week's sponsor is Fake Gyms.
Ooh.
Fake Gym. I go to the gym purely for my mental health. I do. Because it makes me feel good. I realize that just getting to the gym is all I need.
Oh, I see where this is going.
So today's sponsor is any gym. You don't need a membership. Go there, touch the gym, go home. You did it. Fake Gym.
Fake Gym.
Fake Gym. Try it. Let's bring on George.
Let's bring on the guest. Welcome, George Coker! Loosest episode yet.
You know, I always think it's going to be the best episode.
I didn't say bad, I said
You
loose.
said loose.
Loose.
What's up, George? Are you
Not too much.
comfortable?
I've got very long legs.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll survive.
Like many friends of the shows, you're from the Bay Area.
Yes, I am.
Like very few people from the Bay Area, you're from the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
You grew
Actually,
up?
yeah, I was born and grew up there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And then now you're in Los Angeles. You build yourself heavily as a poet, but I met you as an actor.
That's true.
You do both.
Yes, I do.
What's going on in LA these days? How are you liking it?
It's okay. I had this really interesting experience of discovering, people were always like, LA is so fake, and then I was like, LA's fake, like, but like, not like bad fake. LA's like people are like, they'll pretend they're interested in you, but they're also like wearing their hearts on their sleeves at all times.
You know, that's very interesting.
Right? So
everyone wants to talk about themselves.
Yeah, they all want to talk about that thing they love, which is kind of nice because it's like they're very upfront about it, but they're also like, you have no way of helping me do anything, so I'm going to smile to the end of this conversation and then dip. In the Bay Area, I had like sort of the opposite experience. People would like keep their thing that they love, if they have anything that they love, very close to the chest, and then like they'll talk to you for a bit, and they're also fake, but like they'll be like, oh man, yeah, let's develop a friendship, and they'll be like, I'm going to tell you a secret about a thing I want to do, and then they find out you're not useful at that point, and then they dip, and it's like, oof.
So when we say LA is deeply superficial, but the Bay Area is superficially deep.
Boom!
That's a little reductive of everything.
Yes, it is.
It certainly is. For a late night
Excuse me,
talk
I'm sorry, I
show.
did not mean to roast literally everywhere I've ever lived.
No, that is interesting. So, on your Instagram right now, it's like a lot of poems you write.
Yeah.
Are they for other people? Or just inspired by other people?
So, yeah, I mean, like, basically, they are for other people and inspired by other people.
Yeah.
Like, I brought my typewriter, so if you want, like, a demo, I could, like, show you how I do that.
Ooh.
Demo? We've never had a demo on the show.
Oh, we've never had a
You've never had a demo?
on the show.
You never had, like, the sand
Well, let's
painter
get
just
into
fucking go
this.
for
No,
it?
a classic
on the
late
desk
night
right here?
segment we haven't
We've
done.
had other poets. We've had other painters.
Musicians.
We've had
And the musicians never, like, brought the trumpet?
philanthropists. They didn't demo
And they didn't donate?
philanthropy.
Oh, they didn't donate a single sock.
Yeah, we could demo.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So, yeah. Wait. Where do you go? What do you do when you just? Who are these people?
Okay, can I tell you a quick story about how I ended up doing this? Okay, so you met me as an actor, and I started acting accidentally because I.
So you were just acting so fake all the time.
Well, yeah, I was pretending to be happy, and nobody knew, and then and then I was like, I could get paid for this,
Right, you're a great
so I did.
actor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I was originally going to go to college for like theology and engineering, and I think my dad thought that I was going to go to college to become a pastor. So he was like, no, don't do that. So I said no to a scholarship from Fordham.
Ooh.
And my dream of moving to New York, and went to City College instead. So my friends tried to save me. They were like, George is very sad right now, so we're just going to we're going to make him do something fun. So I joined theater. And it was the only thing that I didn't quit. Because like I kept trying, and people would just be like, "Keep doing theater. There are no brown men who can act and sing in our friend groups, so please come be in our shows." And I was like, well, that's convenient, and a little reductive, but thanks. It's like, you're great, George, but you're also the only one. And so like I did that for a little bit through college, and then like I applied for a thing at ACT, and I got that, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and I'm telling stories that matter, and I'm like, that's really important, that feels good. So I take a brief hiatus to run off to France with my ex-French girlfriend. I come back to America, and all my theater friends have like moved to either like Oregon or New York or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna make commercials and make some cash. And I'm doing this for like 2 years, and then I realize I hate it because I've done nothing but work for Google and not make Google money.
It seems like what you enjoy is telling stories. So when you're acting and telling stories, you enjoyed it. When you were acting and telling people that Google is a website,
yes,
you didn't enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it was not that great. So one day I woke up super like cranky, and I was just like, you know what? If anybody asks me a question today, I'm gonna tell them the truth. I was feeling very not well adjusted that day, and so
this is in LA or in New York?
This is in San Francisco. And so somebody tells me a story about the law of attraction earlier that day, and they're like, you got to tell the truth, because I had this one time where I accidentally cut my friend's hand open, and I was like, no, we're going to make this a good thing. So they went to the ER. This lady's got like her hand bleeding, and she's like, and her friend's like, she says to her friend who she accidentally cut, like, we're going to make this a good thing, so tell me what you want right now. And she's like, I want a doctor. And she's like, okay, but be more specific. So she's like, I want a beautiful doctor. And it's like, okay, I want a beautiful doctor who speaks 2 languages. It's like, okay, but more. It's like, I want a beautiful doctor who speaks 2 languages and has 2 specialties. And she was like, oh, okay. Do you want anything else? She's like, no, I just want a fucking doctor. She's like, her hand's been cut open. And like 2 minutes later, this doctor walks in. And it's this gorgeous doctor from China, speaks Mandarin, English, and Russian, so 3 languages, is like a surgeon, and they're like just getting off their shift, and they're like, I came by the ER to make sure that anybody who needs like assistance is like covered, because I don't know, whatever hospital they're at. But it's a lady, and she's not a lesbian, so she was super disappointed because she couldn't date the doctor. So she got everything she wanted except for like a dateable doctor, which I guess was all the specifications she was giving. But yeah, so I hear that story, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll keep on with this telling the truth thing. So some guy at lunch, his name is James. James, I don't know if you're watching right now, hey. James is like, so I'm trying to have more authentic conversations with people. And I was like, that's a weird way to start a lunch, and he was like, so if you could be doing anything right now, what would you be doing? And I was like, well, so that's how that feels, because I do that to people a lot. I ask like a very personal question immediately with no respect or regard for, for the level of intimacy that we have developed as strangers.
Right.
And I was like, well, you know what, James, I promised I wouldn't lie today, so I would be doing nothing. But in lieu of that, since we live in a capital society, I guess I'd be sitting at a typewriter somewhere, writing haiku and handing it to strangers. And he was like, a typewriter? And I was like, yes. And he was like, but writing haiku? I was like, yes. And he was like, and handing it to strangers. And I was like, yes, like, what do you want from me? And he was like, well, this is just very specific. And I was like, yes, I know. And he was like, do you own a typewriter? I was like, no. He's like, but do you write haiku? I was like, since I was 6. And he was like, well, I have a friend who does exactly that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Does he get paid? He was like, yes, very well. And I was like, tell me more.
Very well.
Yeah, and he was like, have you ever Googled your dream? I was like, no, is that a thing people do? They just randomly put their dreams into Google and see what comes up? And he was like, well, I don't know, would you Google how to become a doctor if you wanted to be one? And I was like, okay, fine, fair, fuck it.
That's a good word of advice.
Basically, he happened to hook me up with a dude who did exactly what I wanted to be doing, and literally a week later I was working my dream job, writing poetry at a typewriter and handing it to strangers. So like
Where?
In San Francisco.
Dolores?
So like just around. Like I've been to Hawaii writing poetry. I'm going to Vegas next week. I'm going to be in Vegas on Tuesday. I was in Colorado at the Broadmoor, which was freaking dope. Yeah, I didn't know the Broadmoor existed, and then I found out it's like this big presidential hotel, and
Can I ask?
goes there.
What's your daily take on this haiku operation?
It's pretty fantastic. It's much bigger in New York than it is out here, but like I do a lot of weddings, so that's like a fun thing.
There's a whole B2B part of this deal. Wow.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. So
That's
like,
awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, I could set up like in a street, on a street corner and just do this. I could like go to a bar and hang out into whatever, and people will just buy me drinks all night, which is awkward because I don't really drink, so I'll be sitting
Right.
there with like 15 gin and tonics. Like I'm not gonna. Here.
Then you can resell the gin and tonics at a markup.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Frankie. Okay.
Capitalist society.
You should be my consultant.
Nice. Good for not. I don't need him on the show anymore. Spend
You
10
just
more
need text
minutes
lines.
printing graphics. I guess my question for you is poetry
Mm-hmm.
is so not even underappreciated, just under like studied and read.
Yeah.
Because I studied poetry. Like I have a creative writing degree, and
She's a poet.
I was a poet in college. I thought I wanted an MFA.
I
But
didn't know this.
Yeah. So, I found, because my parents read prolifically. They read,
Mm-hmm.
they've been avid readers my whole life. They do not read poetry. They've never been exposed to it other than like when they were in high school or college. Like maybe they read like obviously Shakespeare or like other older stuff.
Yeah.
But like, how do people receive your like? Because I feel like people don't always like get. They don't know how to read it. Or they don't always like know what to do with it.
So yeah, poetry's kind of esoteric, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you just like, you know it exists, but you don't really engage with it a lot of the time. And I think that's partially because, so when I was like 6 years old, I think I was listening to NPR, and there was this thing about how people don't actually create authentic, like, they don't generate language. What they do is they often repeat phrases they've heard before in order to communicate.
Yeah.
So like, it's just sort of weird. So I had this realization that like, if I wanted to, accomplish more in terms of communication than the average person, I had a very high opinion of my 6-year-old self's communication abilities. I was like, I must start generating things that other people have not said before me. So I was like, I want to have more original thoughts. And so I started reading the dictionary and the sources and like looking for words that seemed to mean exactly what I thought they meant. Yeah. But
or
people
even
were
piecing together like words into like phrases
Yeah.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah. And like adults just were like, that's cute. Like they probably think this means something else. Like either they didn't understand the word that I chose, or they just assumed that like the connotation didn't matter because it was like this kid just heard a word that sounds like that and is trying to like use it in whatever way. And then I found poetry when somebody was like, so poetry is interesting or is different because when a person hands you a poem, like rather than just handing you a piece of prose or like something written, they can't just understand it as this is what I would have meant if I had said it, so I'm going to take it that way. With poetry, you're sort of forced to engage with the feeling of the words, or the feelings conveyed by the words rather than the words themselves. So you can't just interpret them semantically. So like, the thing that I really enjoy about what I do is that when I write a person a poem, it's like, it's a combination of like, perhaps things that were called to mind by what they told me, but also like, things that I have interpreted from what they've said in terms of the feeling. And so like I can usually convey the feeling that they've given me back to them in like a way that is new and they feel very heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like even people who are like, I hate poetry, have been like,
No.
like they just, yeah. It's kind of
Frankie.
Frankie's drinks.
Yeah, I was just about to say, have you ever had anyone give a poem to you back and be like, can I have another?
Exactly one time. It was great. Yeah. She was very drunk and she was like, that's not the right I meant. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, I'll try again, ma'am. And that was like it. But besides that, yeah, I know everybody's basically been like,
That's cool.
or like, there's this one person who's like, how do I repay you? And I was like, I don't like the way you're talking to me anymore.
Like,
I need to write other poems now.
Oh no.
It was pretty great.
That's so great. Okay, so what is the process? You're hanging out at a wedding,
Yeah.
bistro, art gallery. Oh, you have the cards. Can I see what they're saying?
They're little paper source cards.
Oh, I thought they were
Yeah,
like have your face on them.
No, they did not have my face on them. That would be incredibly
I
tacky.
like watermarks
but I love
on
it.
the background.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, so basically I'd just be like, so, Carolyn, I usually ask you 2 questions. Carolyn,
Yeah.
The first question is how do you spell your name? I already know, but, how do you spell your name?
Lyn.
Okay. I was gonna...
Carolyn.
I was like, if I missed the... There we go. Carolyn, okay.
And then you know French. Oh, never mind.
Racine.
My last name.
I could put root in there, but we don't need that for now.
I'm a little obsessed with my last name.
It's a good one. Racine. Racine Carré. Carré? I haven't spoken French in so long, and the R's, I just choke on them now.
What's your second question?
The second question is, what's been on your mind lately? I wrote that sigh. That happens like almost every time. Keep going.
What's been on my mind? You know what, lately, big picture, I'm trying to think of ways to be like clearer headed. And so I'm trying to be off social media, which is hard because I promote stuff online.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like drink a little less and get better in the idea of getting like better sleep, waking up clear.
Okay. Waking up clear.
Yeah.
So, getting better sleep, waking up clear, being more checked into life and less on social media.
Yeah. To have more original thoughts too.
Yeah, more original thoughts.
We just
All right.
like podcasts, social media.
Okay. Ooh.
We're getting a poem live. Oh, yes.
Little ding. The ding of art is happening.
That one person.
Socially awkward.
Oh, hey,
Socially
what's up?
awkward. Hello, socially awkward.
Well, I don't want to distract you.
Oh, no worries. I'm like working on this. I was chewing on the last line, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
The last 5 are huge.
Right
Well-
now, that's like. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna allow you to write, but I was also gonna tell our viewers that right now in downtown Los Angeles is a collection of Tom Hanks's typewriters.
Ooh.
Did you know he collects typewriters?
No, that sounds like a rich actor hobby.
Yeah, it's a rich actor hobby. They're beautiful. This is a beautiful typewriter too.
I'm sure they are.
What if I was like, saw Tom Hanks's typewriters? What trash? They're all the like ones you plug in, the electric ones from the 90s.
Tasteless is as tasteless does at the Tom Hanks typewriter retrospective.
I can't. What's my rich hobby? What's your, when you get wealthy and you're like a wealthy comedian, what's your like weird collectible hobby?
Oh, I plan on building a castle in the foothills of the Central Valley and
Really?
filling it with various kinds of, well, it'll be permaculture based, but a lot of, statuary. And books, probably very old books, like ones that you gotta put like gloves on to touch.
Don't let him into my poem though.
He has not been invited.
No. Gotta have boundaries somewhere.
Permaculture here.
It's, oh god. So like I was set out on one thing and then like you said something else and I was like, oh, maybe I should use this, and then I was like, nah.
Don't let
ooh.
me distract you from me.
Oh.
It's my phone.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Okay.
Hot and fresh.
So, I'm gonna type the type the date so it's dated so we know when this happened.
Yes.
What day is it? Folks don't have to know.
Today is March 29th, 2019.
I put 8.
Times of construct.
Times they are a change.
Like in Vegas. You don't want to miss that one.
Yeah.
Like the best French poems. It's vintage, Jason.
There you go. It came vintage. All right. For Carolyn, search a cooler drink. I begin to sip the air. No life on the rocks.
Thanks, George.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
Thank you, George. Oh man, look at that
Got one.
typewriter skill too.
I actually love typos on like.
Oh, it's really satisfying.
It's cool. It's
It adds
like,
character.
and that's too like. Do you write character?
Sorry. Yes.
Do you write other stuff on the typewriter? Do you
Oh,
just
yeah,
like to write on the typewriter?
Yeah, this typewriter I write a lot of haiku and love letters on. And then I have another one that I write like
Love letters?
Yeah,
You write
sorry.
love letters?
I write love letters and haiku on
Lost
this.
art.
Yeah.
More so than haiku.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Why you keep the typewriter separate? Is it the feeling or just the association?
This one is my favorite just in terms of like the feel of it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like so fun fact, Hermes 3000, Sylvia Plath used to write on one of these. Jack Kerouac wrote On the Road on one of these with a single sheet of paper strewn like through the thing. He had like a roll. Yeah, there are a lot of famous writers who have had Hermes 3000s, and I was like trying not to, do the thing where I get the same one as everybody else, but I had the Cormac McCarthy like Olivetti Latera 32, and I was like, this is a piece of crap. His was like, I've written 5 million words on this, and all of them were just as terse as me. I've blown the dust out of this thing one time, and that's all the fixing it ever needed. And I was like, okay, like fine, but it didn't work for me. It also like snapped off at like one section, like when I touched it. Mine's possibly, it was licensed, I would say, to be made in Mexico. I say licensed, my girlfriend thinks it's counterfeit. I have a Hermes rocket that's super portable. I had to buy that so I could get it on an airplane because somebody bought me one of those United tickets that's like ultra basic economy, or what's it called?
Like,
the one that sounds fancy but it's just extra shitty.
Like you may have nothing on your person.
Like-
come as you are.
Like
Yes.
worse than a bus class.
You're right.
Yeah, it's like, did you remember to shave your chest hair? Because that's not allowed on here either.
So
Like,
you don't
I
take
just-
you take a smaller one to travel.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah, I have a Smith & Corona that I love. This type's really funky though. But somebody won it in a poetry contest, so it's yeah, technically it's not mine anymore. I've got to go mail it.
Wait,
you had the poetry contest.
Yes, I held a poetry
Gave
contest
away.
and I gave away one of my typewriters.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's my
Are you
prettiest
going
typewriter, I
to-
think.
Are you going to put together a collection
Of poems? For typewriters.
poems?
Like an anthology? You're like
Yeah, I mean, are you writing? Do you want to just continue writing for people out as a gig? Do you want to write a book?
Ooh, yeah. So I wrote a book in October, in a week, called 17 Syllable Mischief, and that I wrote because I was like, I want to write a book. I've never written a book, and last year I was just doing shit because I said I wanted to, right? So I was like, I'm not an actor anymore. I'm a poet. I don't have a book. I will write one. And so I wrote a book, and it's actually pretty dope. I would say, or at least the Amazon reviews, I have 5 stars. I'm pretty sure it's like my mom and sister or something like that. But I only have 5 stars, so you go fuck that shit up after you read it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm working on my next book right now, so like I'm doing research, which is fun, and writing people poems, and so like yours might make it in there if
That's amazing.
if I take a photo of it or something.
How can we follow you?
Oh yeah, you can find me at poet.accolade on Instagram. It's my name. It looks like accolade with a K. My mom didn't realize that was a word in English when she named me Accolade. It means my blessings have arrived. It's a cool name. I like it.
Yeah,
Very
Right?
nice.
It's nice. I like to think
You're destined to be a poet.
Thank you. I feel it.
Thank you so much for stopping by. It's so cool what you do, and I'll try to get people to reach out to you.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate it.
And that's the show.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.
We're back on schedule. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks to George, Akolade, and Carolyn Racine, and I'm a monster. See you soon.